Good evening and welcome to Special Assignment. My name is Ashraf Garda. As we reflect on Child Protection Week, we once again familiarise ourselves with the struggles of others on the African continent, whose challenges deserve the world's attention. We now look at the rights of children in Tanzania, where the story of child labour raised the ire of the world. Mererani in northern Tanzania is the only place on earth where the precious stone tanzanite is mined. And despite the amount of revenue the industry derives from mining, the town's residents live in desperate poverty, with children suffering the most. On a daily basis, thousands of these children risk their lives in poorly constructed mine shafts for barely a meal a day to dig, trying to find tanzanite for a meagre income. Tanzanian laws prohibit the employment of children under the age of 14 years in mainland Tanzania, except for light work that is not likely to harm the child's health and development and that does not prejudice the child's attendance at school. The laws also prohibit children under the age of 18 years from being employed in mines, factories, ships or other work sites deemed hazardous. But as we are about to see, child labour remains a concern. This report by Iron News.
Tukifika tunaanza kuchekecha. Tukichekecha tukiona hatupati. Kuna saa nyingine njaa inatuuma, tunashuka nyumbani. Tunakulia kula. Tukishuka tukishamaliza kula, tunaendelea kuchekecha mtaani. Mtaani ikifika muda saa 12 nakuwa tumesharudi nyumbani. Tukirudi nyumbani tunanawa. Tukishanawa tunavalisha nguo nyingine zile ambazo za nyumbani sio za kuchekechea. Tukishavaa nguo za nyumbani tunaenda kubeba maji ya kutumia hapa nyumbani. Tukishamaliza maji namsaidia mama kazi. Siku ikifika ndo tunaenda kulala.
Mererani, Tanzania. The only place on earth where the rare gem tanzanite is found. Despite the mire of poverty, this town is the source of a $300 million a year industry. Yet 30% of the 200,000 people who call this place home survive on less than $1 a day. Each year, thousands of people from all over Tanzania rush here in hopes of finding the rare gem. Most find an endless cycle of poverty. In this desperate daily battle for survival, children bear the heaviest load. 3 kilometers outside the town, some 30,000 miners work to depths of up to 300 meters without safety regulations or a daily wage. Dynamite accidents, collapsing mines and floods have caused hundreds of deaths during the past 5 years. Every day, 4,000 child miners between the ages of 8 and 14 risk their lives in poorly constructed mine shafts for barely a meal a day. Hundreds of independently operated shafts like this one account for roughly 80% of Mererani's annual tanzanite production. Those miners who can't find work in the pits are left to pan for tanzanite in a dry riverbed. Most struggle for years without earning a cent. This marketplace is the economic center in Mererani. Dealers here sell raw, uncut tanzanite to regional brokers, who in turn cut and polish the blue gem and sell it on to local and international retailers. Much of the raw tanzanite sold here is mined by children. The finished product can look like this, but few people know the story of how it ended up on their finger. Harry Mushi is the director of the Mererani-based Good Hope program, set up to rehabilitate child miners and impoverished families. In his own words, he is fighting a war.
Hapa kuna mfano mzuri sana wa kijana mmoja ambaye anaishi katika hali ngumu sana ya umaskini hapa katika eneo la Songambele. Kijana huyu ni kijana ambaye anaishi na wazazi wake, lakini ukiangalia wazazi wake historia yao ni watu ambao walipata shida sana. Baba alikuwa mchimbaji, baba alivunjika mguu, mama yake wakaanza kuuza mboga. Sasa wamejikusanya katika kibanda kimoja kidogo hapa Songambele, wanaishi katika maisha ya shida sana. Unaona, wanauza mboga, na matokeo yake ni kwamba huyu kijana inabidi atumwe na wazazi wake kwamba nenda kachekeche mchanga, nenda kachimbe madini. Unajua kule kuna madhara?
Ndio.
Madhara gani? Madhara gani?
Naweza ukaumwa na kifua, ukaangukiwa na ngema, au ukaanguka mgodini.
Nini hasa unaogopa kutokea?
Unaweza ukachungulia mgodini ukaangukia huko, au ukateleza, au unaweza ukaingia huko chini, ngema ikatingishika ikakuangukia, au unaweza ukachekecha ile vumbi linaingia mdomoni na ingia kifuani, unaumwa.
Wewe unaona ni vizuri watoto kufanya kazi kwa nyumbani kueleza au ni kazi yao kueleza?
Hapana, mimi sioni vizuri.
So, what is the fate of these children? We'll find out after this.
Unatumwa ovyo juu, mara ukalete maji, mara soda, mara unatumwa huko chini ukalete diga, na wewe bado ni mdogo.
With the assistance of Good Hope, some children are lucky enough to leave the pits. Good Hope provides skills training such as carpentry, tailoring and auto mechanics. By doing this, it helps families break the dependence on tanzanite mining. These former child miners are now receiving training at a local garage.
Maisha yangu yalikuwa ni magumu sana, yani mabaya sana, kwa sababu nikienda kule naweza hata nisile mchana kwa sababu sipati hela. Bado tena vumbi linakuingia na kifua. Mafua bado unapata na mafua. Kwa hiyo huwezi pata, kwa hiyo maisha yalikuwa magumu sana. Ndio nikakutana na fundi mmoja ambapo alikuja akatengeneza nani kule juu, gari, mashine. Ndio nikamueleza, nikamwambia fundi, naomba nitafute kazi nyingine, hii kazi siwezi. Mimi baada ya kuondoka ndo nikawaacha, au baada ya kutafutiwa kazi huko ndo nikawaacha, au bado wanaendelea na kazi yao. Walikuwa kama 50 bado wanafanya kazi ya kuchekecha. Mimi na matarajio ya nikishaelewa kabisa ufundi. Nishaelewa ufundi na mtakuja kuanzisha garage yangu nje kuwasaidia watoto kama vile nilivyosaidiwa. Saidia.
Just 50 kilometers away from the filth of Mererani, Arusha town demonstrates the global hunger for tanzanite. Far removed from the wretched world of Wilson Peter and his fellow miners, tourists here can spend between $5,000 and $20,000 a day on the precious stone. But while a minority of those in the tanzanite business have built a fortune from the gem, Mererani children remain caught in the grip of poverty. The battle against child labor in this region seems endless. Grace Banya coordinates the International Program on the Elimination of Child Labor, or IPEC, from the International Labour Organization offices in Nairobi, Kenya. Though the organization believes the worst forms of child labor can be eliminated globally in 10 years, high population growth, stifling poverty and the HIV/AIDS epidemic has retarded its fight against child labor in sub-Saharan Africa. As a result, sub-Saharan Africa has the highest proportion of child laborers of any region in the world. The causes and long-term effects of this reality are painfully bleak.
The phenomena of child labor is very much linked with the socio-economic environment of particularly the sub-Saharan region, the countries in this region. We have seen that over the years the poverty levels have increased, that families cannot be able to take care of their own children. The families have to be economically empowered to be able to even deal with those children who would slip off and go back into child labor. So it's a whole long-term and needs a lot of resources, but it's an issue that if it's not dealt with, is going to affect the future human resource of a nation, of a whole continent, because we are getting a generation of children who are missing out totally on education. The outcome will be that we'll have a gap or a generation of people who are not educated, who don't have any skills whatsoever to contribute to human development.
Child miners and their families are not the only ones suffering from this devastating cycle of poverty and child labor. Like most in Mererani, this mother and daughter came here several years ago seeking a better life. They have yet to find it. The mother sells food at the mines, but her income from this business alone is not enough to support them. She cannot afford to send her daughter to school, and they repeatedly face the threat of eviction from their home. This dire situation forces many women to subsidize their income through prostitution. Children are also compelled into sex work in order to survive. This is a common story for many mothers and daughters in this area. Mothers of Mererani shoulder a special burden as they bear witness to their children's suffering. School and a normal childhood are beyond their means.
Kwa kweli wanavyofanya kama wanavyochekesha huko hatufurahi, ila wanachekesha kutokana na shida iliyopo hapa. Maana watakapopata hata 200, 500 wanaleta wananitupia hapa, napata kuendelea kuwalea. Na mimi nikihangaika kuuza mboga, wanaendelea kupata kuishi. Ndio maana tunawaruhusu tu, wakisema tunaenda kuchekesha hatuwanyimi, maana kila mtoto ana bahati yake. Kwa kweli wanavyohangaika tunawahurumia, lakini kutokana na shida tulionayo hapa inabidi tu tuvumilie, tuwalee tu kama hali ilivyo mbaya. Ni mwenye shida endelee na shida zake na familia yake, kutokana na nini ni familia yetu. Kwa hiyo sio kwamba tunapata raha sana wanapochekesha, ni shida tu. Ndio maana hatuwanyimi. Kwa hiyo ndipo kama mnapotuona hapa tunaendelea tu familia ili isije ikavimba mashavu tukaja kuambiwa kwa nini mmeshindwa kulea familia na ni familia yenu mlioizaa wenyewe.
Wilson Peter's mother can rest a bit easier now that her son is benefiting from the Good Hope program. Wilson is finally going to school for the first time in 9 months. At last he has a chance at a normal childhood. But their crushing poverty means Wilson's parents will continue to struggle, even to put food on the table. The Tanzania government is part of an international strategy to eliminate child labor. But organizations like Good Hope only have the resources to reach 10% of the child mining population.
Serikali haijapata njia za kuwapeleka kwenye mambo kama hayo. Sasa hiyo inakuwa ni changamoto na ni tatizo kubwa. Kwa hiyo serikali haiwezi ikasimama na kusema kwamba watoto wanafanya kazi hata siku moja. Ila wanakuwa wanasema hivyo kwamba watoto hawa wanatakiwa kwenda shule, lakini waende wapi? Hakuna nafasi. Unaona hakuna primary school za kutosha, hakuna secondary school za kutosha. Sasa hilo ni tatizo kubwa na ni changamoto. Kila mahali inakuwa hivyo. Lakini tukiangalia tunaona watoto wanaendelea kuja kufanya kazi hiyo. Sasa tufanye nini? Sasa tunachojaribu kuona ni kwamba tushirikiane na serikali, kwa sababu sasa nao wanatuunga mkono.
Children not working is a right. I mean, they have to be in school is a right. But who makes sure that right is realized? It's me and you and everybody. So a good policy mix, making sure that we enforce the policies that are passed, but also that everybody takes full responsibility to ensure that children don't go in those holes in the minds, that their health is catered for, that they are in school and they remain there, that the girls don't go into prostitution, that they have alternative ways of living, and they are in school. First and most important, that they are in school, because once in school, then they have a future, cut for them ahead.
Despite hopes for a perfect world, the majority of people in Mererani face life without a net. Their future seems rooted in statistics of poverty. The mining life is deeply embedded in the culture here. There are few options beyond the tanzanite mines and putting children to work. A normal education for most children here is still a dream, and there is no end in sight to the desperation. Wilson Peter has a simple solution for child labor.
Kama nikiwa rais wa Tanzania, sitaruhusu watoto wadogo kuzama migodini. Na ambaye atakamatwa na tumikisha watoto migodini atahukumiwa kifungo.
In 2007, the government took measures to address child labour, such as ensuring children's attendance in school, penalising parents who fail to enrol their children, and educating formal sector employers on child labour issues. But still, as late as last month, further financial support was extended to fight the worst forms of child labour in Tanzania's gold-producing area, Geita, by, amongst others, the European Union. This project was initiated after various researchers proved that worse forms of child labour are rapidly growing on a daily basis. Children have been working as cheap labourers in the mines, causing them to abandon their crucial early education or, worse, get affected with a slow effect of poisonous mercury, which is being used during the processing of gold. Now, I'd really like to know your views on this, and you can do so by tweeting using the hashtag Special Assignment. You can also Facebook or email us. And just after 2 p.m. on Friday, I'll be taking your calls on my SAFM radio show. Well, on to last week's comments on the women rape issue. Tanya Minar emailed saying, "It makes me angry that leaders sit in their offices with their expensive suits and excuses for or ignore what's going on with their own people. Even though it's great that women can go to places to be treated after being violated, there should be more done to prevent these incidences from happening." The marketing girl tweeted, "Special Assignment should do a follow-up on the rapists of these victimized women. They are the ones that need to be exposed for a change." And on Facebook, Dani Doma wrote, "This is shocking, but the question still remains. What is the whole world doing about it? I'm personally not happy with people who go out there, spend more money working hard just to compile the data and not doing anything to prevent or protect women and children from such abuse." Now, that's our comments about last week's show. Now, Special Assignment would like to hear more about the issues that matter to you. So, if you have any information that you would like to share with us or anything that you want us to investigate or expose, well, we encourage you to get in touch with us. You can do this via Twitter, our handle, Special Assign. You can also email us to truth@sabc.co.za, or you can post comments on our official Special Assignment Facebook page. Now, a dedicated team is waiting to receive your information, and we'll follow up to see how and where we can assist you to expose any wrongdoings that you are particularly concerned about. Well, thanks for tuning into our show tonight, and please do so again next week when we point out the issues.